So how can we get it so that EMO is effective? You know, can you carve out time? You have 3 practices a week, and that's a lot sometimes. Sometimes it's 2, and you're playing a game on the weekend, and it's tough to do it. So can you designate an entire practice to playing EMO and man down D? And I think if you can, it would serve you well, because it's a big part of the game. You know, when you get those man-up opportunities, you know, and the flags fly pretty freely at the youth level, you can really, you know, you can change the outcome of the game. So many coaches do the EMO prior to game day, you know, and they do it for 5 minutes. They do it at one end. They throw the ball away. They give them the ball back. They throw the ball away. They give them the ball back. And then they get set up in a play like, no, I want you to go here. And then if you start talking about formations and spacing, and identifying to your guys that you have 6 on 5, you're plus one more guy, they might start understanding the tenets of spacing and everything. So mix your practice schedules up. In high school, oftentimes we would do EMO at the beginning of practice. So we take our 2 teams, go to one end, the other group of guys would go down there, and they'd start 4-on-3s. And this is right after we stretched or loosened up or threw the ball. We do it in the middle of practice. We do it at the end of practice. And then we're lucky, every once in a while, we would literally have one practice that was all EMO and man down D, the entire practice. And it seems like an awful lot of time if you're in high school, particularly in youth. Can you designate an entire practice to man up, man down? I would say yes. You know, you probably do the youth thing for probably a 12-week season, maybe 2 practices a week. If you don't get rained out, if the kids come, 24 practices, could you designate 2 to be fully man up and man down? And I think you can. Just like, you know, we try to designate a practice that we'll have practices where we do clearing the entire practice. That's it, for 2 hours. And then we tell them we're doing this or that. They kind of understand what you're doing. So time permitting, trying to do EMO out of full field situations. This is something that we put a lot of effort into, the man-up play. And our success rate, I think we were right around 30%, which is pretty good. If you score 30% of the time on man-up, I think you're doing pretty well. Duke last year was a little higher than that. They were 35%, but they had the shooters and everything. So we put in a full field situation. High school guys, you may be able to do this. Youth guys, you might not be able to do this, but you could do it in a half-field situation. And what we do, we set it up full field, and we'll say, you got a minute. So we have the man up, and they'll be switching formations. You know, we call them plays, but it's really just a lot of formations. We're running Hoya. We're picking and slipping out of a 2-2-2, like sideways 2-2-2. But the reality of it is, if they throw the ball away, they don't get the ball back. Now the man down team is clearing it. So, and you're in a full field situation. So we're trying to shuffle on personnel, get the right guy. If it's a 30-second penalty, we generally will not try to double the ball. The last thing we want to do is give them a man down opportunity when the D-midi gets it and he's running down the field 100 miles an hour and guys are shutting off the attack. And I'm like, no, he only knows one thing. He's going to the goal, he's going to shoot it. And we don't want to give a man down goal. So if it's a 30-second penalty, our general rule was just get in the hole, play even up. If it's a minute penalty and we throw it away early, and this is things that you can practice, then we're a little bit formulaic. We let the ball go down the side, then we lock off, then we let it get to a pole, then we send our other pole to it at a safe zone behind the goal where we're going to try to double it, get the ball on the ground, get it out of bounds, get it back up into our end. But that's something that you have to practice. It allows the team to practice clearing the ball man down, getting that personnel on. Now, granted, this is high school where there's 35, 36 guys on the team. You know, you got special guys who you can put on for man down and man. It's hard to do in a youth practice. You can do it half field. If they throw it, you say, hey, man down D, you're clearing to midline, man up, you're trying to ride it back. That's what you could do at the youth level. And then another thing when you're doing man up, man down, depending on the circumstances, we try to do all these things. So we're trying to go from an open set to a 2-3-1 look to a 1-3-2 look. And the 1-3-2 look, I'm calling it from up top. A lot of guys call it from behind. I know it looks like an inverted 3-3, but this is the 1. And these 3 guys going here, 3. And these guys are basically on GLE. I got them a little high. And that's the 2. That's the 1-3-2 look. And that's a lot of formation that we're going to end up in. And you'll see it on the next clip. The key, though, is we tell our man down guys, we want to see everything. Don't tell us when it's coming. So we'll have a script, the practice script, and we'll say, let's see what it looks like if they're stringing from the crease to the top guy. And we want the top guy to drag him a little bit, maybe the crease to come high. Let's see what it looks like against a 4-man rotation. Let's see what it looks like against a 5-man rotation. 4-man soft, 5-man soft. 4-man hard, 5-man hard. And what I mean by that, soft, they can rotate, but they keep it tight. If they go hard, they're really stretching out and trying to get a check on your gloves. So you're kind of backing up, and they get you to throw off your back foot. We do it against a player being shut. If Ben Rubier were playing, he scored about 9 goals against us when he was playing for Loyola one year. I had a really good defenseman on him. His name was John Windsor. And he was dragging Windsor way out to the corner. It was at Loyola. The refs are awful. And he was running by him, and they were moving so well off the ball, we weren't getting a slide to him. You know, by the time we figured it out, it was a little bit too late. We would have shut him on man up had I known who he was. He was only a sophomore. You know, shutting a player. Or then when we shut a spot, you know, we're just shutting the right wing because that's where we're playing Zingos. They're the U3 team, all-world team. They got all these righties. We're shutting the right-hand wing. And you'd be amazed at youth. They're like, but I'm supposed to throw it to Jack. Jack's covered. Because, you know, they're like robots. And then the junk, you know, where they're playing a 4-man soft, and then on a third pass, bam, they go into a 5-man hard rotation, and then they suck back in after another couple passes, and they're playing soft again. So if you practice going against the different things you're going to see, generally speaking, the players you have out there, the personnel, will become more accustomed to playing against. Hey, they're coming hard. I know I got to step back. Again, this could be a little bit advanced for the youth guys, but I think you can do it. You know, I look at basketball all the time, and you look at the 3rd grade CYO game, and they're in full court presses that Louisville are running. And then you get to lacrosse, and people tend to dummy it down sometimes. And I've always wondered, is that because the guys helping out don't have the knowledge, or the kids don't know? Why do they know basketball so much better than lacrosse, but they want to play lacrosse in college? These things have been perplexing to me for some time. So I have another clip here that's going to show you how they end up in a 132 after moving a little bit. I think this is a Carolina, another team that doesn't have good man-up personnel. Oh, boy. Is this 2? All right. What goes big screen? Right here? All right, so they're going to eventually, they move a little bit, 2, 3, 1, and they're just going to end up just basically, and they end up in that 1-3-2 look. You see it right there? And they'll keep moving, switching spots. And they step in. You know, they got all kinds of shooters. That's Sankey. They got this Tutton kid. They got all kinds of shooters. That's Pontrello, you know. And that's great. You know, it's great. We can show that clip and like, yeah, that's Carolina. I don't have Carolina guys. Neither do you guys.